Guest in this segment is formerly the House Majority Leader. He's now the Secretary of Administration in the new Morrissey government and the cabinet there. Good morning, Eric Householder. How are you?
Good morning. Almost. I officially don't take the title until January 13th.
Correct.
So, yeah.
But I didn't know how to say Secretary of Administration elect because it's not elect. It's in waiting. Would it be in waiting? Is that what you would be?
Basically, it's an appointed position. I will have to take an oath of office. Once the governor is sworn in, then the constitutional officers are sworn in, and at some point throughout the day, later on that day, then I'll have a letter of the official oath of office that I have to sign for all the appointed cabinet secretaries. So
Dylan,
that's how that works.
our producer, has said incoming Secretary of Administration. That works,
Yes,
right?
I like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't separate them. It's not incoming and then secretary.
Incoming.
Yeah.
So how
Incoming.
were things with the finances? Did Jason Barrett, Senator Barrett, go over them very well?
I thought he did a nice job. As you know,
Good.
Jason, he's a politically astute person.
He talked about slashing
He
the
is.
budgets of the administration.
Secretary of Administration's office.
Well,
That's what we're going at first.
I made
Is it
that
something
up.
about too many cabinet secretaries? I don't know.
Well, just so you know, the incoming boss has the same, obviously we've heard things like accountable, efficient, more streamlining of government. So those are some tasks that I'll have to put in place because, the Department of Administration, it's a large agency that provides a lot of services to state government. So there's a lot of opportunities there. So.
Yeah, this came up in conversation, in the interview yesterday on the air, and I had never heard of the Department of Administration. Of course, I'm new to the area, and I looked it up.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow! There's a lot on your plate.
It sounds like
17 agencies. Yes.
something out of an Ayn Rand novel, right?
Yeah.
Secretary of Administration.
Just remember, that agency is responsible for oversight of all of those internal functions of those agencies that are within the division. So for your listeners, I'll run down through the list of agencies that are under the Department of Administration, if you like.
Please do.
Please.
All right, so we're going to start off with the Aviation Division. That is, it provides professional aviation support to all of the state executives. So whenever the governor-elect, soon-to-be governor, needs to go someplace, that's what the Aviation Division, and I believe they have 5 helicopters and they have a King Air prop jet, fixed wing. So that's under the Aviation Division.
And none of those have been repossessed, right? Just check.
None of those. No, those are all state taxpayers' assets. So we have BRIM, the Board of Risk and Insurance Management. And what BRIM does, it provides all the casualty insurance coverage for all state agencies, local government, school boards, et cetera. We also have the Consolidated Public Retirement Board. We call it CPRB. And it basically it just administers all the state retirement plans for educational employees, public employees. It also, I believe, does the deputy sheriffs, the judges, and all public safety personnel. So pretty big responsibility with the CPRB. Underneath of the Department of Administration also is the Ethics Commission. And basically the Ethics Commission, it just enforces a code of ethical conduct. And it was enacted by the legislature several years ago. And every year when we run for office, we have to fill out an ethics report. I'll get it out here. Sorry about that. And that's all accessible to the public. We also have the Equal Opportunity Office. It eliminates unlawful employment discrimination. We have the Finance Division. The Finance Division does the comprehensive annual financial report. It's about a 340-page document of the health and the financial health and well-being of the state. So maybe at the end of the year, I can come on. We'll have to take up most of the day, but we could talk about the financial health of the state.
It would be good.
Yeah. So we also have the Fleet Management Division. So there's over 7,000 state-owned passenger vehicles that the Fleet Management Division is responsible for. General Services Division. The General Services Division provides operations for the Capitol, the grounds maintenance, and every state building that is owned in state government. There's a grievance board for public employees. There's Division of Personnel that provides basically the HR for all of the state government. We have a Prosecuting Attorneys Institute, which I did not know. I just started reading into it. But basically, the Prosecuting Attorneys Institute provides service and training and support for prosecutors across the state. So we do have the Public Defender Services. Basically, it's going to fund any indigent defense for people across the state of West Virginia. The big one is PEIA. It provides insurance coverage to all of the eligible employees, state employees, county employees, and so forth. Purchasing Division provides purchasing and travel services to various state agencies. We have a Real Estate Division that maintains the centralized statewide resource of all the real estate that is owned by the state. I mean, from highways to DHHR, everything. And then lastly, we have the Office of Technology, which just provides information systems for all of the state agencies and the executive branch. So that's basically what the DOA does. It's like I said, it's a large agency that just provides a lot of services to all of state government.
So basically anything that was not under a cabinet secretary, they just said, we're going to throw this under the Department of Administration and let it fly.
Might be householder's problem, right?
That is quite a hodgepodge, man. That's that's a wide array of state functions that you don't think about.
Well, and the biggest banana there is PEIA, Eric, because that's a mess that sounds like you're now in charge of.
Basically, and the four biggest are PEIA, BRIM, purchasing, and personnel. Those are the four big agencies. The overall budget for the Department of Administration runs about $160 million a year. So, but most of that is through PEIA and BRIM. So,
very good. So, BRIM, you guys, I thought you folks about 15 years ago got a hold of that whole situation and straightened it out. BRIM's in pretty good shape, is it not?
BRIM has some issues. The legislature did pass a bill, I believe, last session or the session before, that actually made it harder on BRIM. We were talking about it last night at dinner. Craig invited me over, and Charles Trump, we had dinner in his apartment last night. We had spaghetti and meatballs.
Not out of a can, right? That wasn't out of a can, was it? You
Chef
didn't have
Boyardee?
Not out of a can.
No. He handmade the meatballs and the garlic bread, and it was very, very good.
All right.
He did a good job. But no, we passed a bill that made it retroactive on some abuse and neglect cases, which really opened up and caused a lot of problems with BRIM with past liability payments and so forth. And so anyways, there's some things that the legislature needs to do. I'm hearing that may be corrected this year.
Okay.
And but BRIM does an overall pretty good job at managing risk. And with that being said, if the legislature will get the opportunity to get back in there and change the legislation that was an oversight on their behalf, I think everything will be fine with BRIM. But yeah, the other thing is PEIA. There's a lot of issues that are obviously, I've listened to, you've had Dale Lee and other people on your station, and I think I'd like to just, if we could stay the course for right now, it'll be. I don't know exactly what Governor-elect Morrissey, his plans are as when it comes to PEIA. All those will be discussed in the upcoming months, and then we'll be able to discuss it further. So right now, I think we're just going to stay the course and see how everything pans out.
How many direct reports are you going to have? How many people work directly for you?
That's what I'm trying to figure out, too. I've met with the acting secretary, and I said, look, I'd like to know how many boards and commissions that I'm required to attend, because they're riddled throughout state code, and then how many annual reports are also required they're also riddled throughout state code. So there's I think there's over 12 boards that I'm required to sit on. Like BRIM, budget hearings, the Capitol Building Commission, CPRB, and several others. But altogether, I think there's 12 boards and commissions that I have to have oversight of.
What does a cabinet secretary level position pay, Eric?
Well, it can pay. It's all negotiable with the governor. But statutory requirements states that the pay is $125,000 a year.
So you've got a $160 million budget. And do we know how many employees work under you? Did you answer that question?
Almost 1,000 employees.
Almost 1,000. All right. Very good. And the PEIA situation in and of itself, which is enough to make anybody need a raise. How many different angles do you approach PEIA? Dylan, there's a phone ringing if you can grab that. How many different angles do you approach PEIA from to try to solve this problem? How does it get solved?
Well, every year, I mean, obviously the legislature has, ideas that they feel that would increase or make PEIA better. But a lot of this is going to depend on what the new governor-elect wants to do. And that's what's going to set the narrative for the upcoming years when it comes to PEIA. But remember, a lot of the situation, the reasons we're at today is because our current governor for the last 7 years said, not on my watch. And most of us do believe that there would have been small incremental, increases for the last 7 years, we wouldn't be in this situation that we are in today, seeing a 14 to 15% increase. And, I don't know why, but the governor, Justice Administration, that was, he just didn't want to see any increases in PEIA, but it was the wrong approach. It would have been a lot better to have smaller incremental changes throughout the years.
Some delegates and senators we've spoken with have talked about moving that to a private insurance model and just giving the employees the equivalent of what the premium would be that the state kicks in and just said, go shop for your own insurance. Do you like that idea, Eric, or do you even have a say in that in your current position?
Right now, I'm going to wait to see what Governor-elect Morrissey, what his plan is, and then whatever his ideas are, that's what we're going to implement. But I've heard the same, for years I have said it's very, very difficult to privatize it because PEIA is almost privatized in its current position. It has an administrative cost of no more than 3% currently. You're not going to find an insurance company like Blue Cross Blue Shield to come in and manage, several program this big at a 3% administrative cost. They're just not going to do it. So
very true.
It's pretty much privatized as it is.
That's one of the reasons why when we would speak to Fred Albert or Dale Lee, they were against it because PEIA doesn't exist to make a profit, whereas a private insurance company, of course, does. So that's right. Leads to more cost.
The state is just trying to provide the lowest cost affordable insurance to the employees, and that's all they're trying to do. So they're just a pass through. We're not we have someone else that actually manages the PEIA. They're negotiating contracts with the pharmacies, with the drug costs and so forth like that. So, we don't actually have an insurance company. We just manage it.
Do you move to Charleston now full time, Eric? Is that how this works?
It is. I will be down here. In fact, I secured a place on Saturday. I'm in the same building that Senator Trump and Blair is in. I'm over here at Terrace Park East. I'm about 2 or 3 blocks from the Capitol. So I came down Saturday. I'm coming back home tonight, and then I'll be back down next Saturday and full time.
Does this end your HVAC career?
Sort of. So weekends is, I'll have to take care of any service work on the weekends, and we'll go from there. So
nice. Secretary of Administration by day, changing furnace filters by weekend. I like that, buddy.
There you go.
That's keeping you grounded. So
I'm a workaholic. I enjoy the work. So
how does a cabinet secretary's day go? Do you all meet with the governor each morning? Has he laid out expectations as to how often you'll get together? How is the schedule?
So I've been trying to think that logically through. What I envision is I will probably have weekly cabinet meetings with his chief of staff, and I envision the chief of staff will call all of the cabinet secretaries together so we could discuss, okay, what issues are we having and so forth. I do know, and I've spent a little time the last couple of days speaking with the acting secretary of Department of Administration to see what my role is going to be and so forth, and try to learn all the nuances of the ins and outs of the department, learn about morale and so forth. He currently has monthly directors meetings with all of these 16 agencies. And that way they can try to head off any issues before they snowball into a bigger issue. But no, getting back to your question, that's what I envision, that we'll be meeting weekly with the chief of staff of Governor-elect Morrissey and just discussing what issues we're having, what problems, and so forth.
With your initial, Eric, looking at the job and everything, besides PEIA, what other of these 16 agencies, what other ones do you think are going to, now I shouldn't say cause you the most headaches, but need the most oversight to begin with?
It's mostly the four big ones: BRIM, PEIA, personnel, and purchasing. Every year, I mean, being on the transition team right now, I was the co-leader on the revenue side. Personnel, that was the number one complaint that I heard throughout when I was interviewing all of the agency heads on the revenue side. You know, personnel makes it extremely difficult and cumbersome to hire people when they need it. So obviously I'm going to look for ways to make that office run a little bit more efficient, more streamlined. And I know Governor-elect Morrissey, talking with him, he has some ideas and so forth. So a lot of this you're going to hear about the Governor-elect's plan at the State of the State, which will be in February. And one of the responsibilities that I'm working on right now is like a 100-day plan to try to get things that I feel that the proper direction that the agency needs to go. And but no, to answer your question, I would say probably personnel and purchasing and PEIA are the three big ones.
I want to talk a little bit about the West Virginia Air Force, the aviation division that we had with the whatever you said. How many helicopters? Does West Virginia have full-time pilots just
they
for?
Do. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So they're not state police officers, right?
Well, and some of those helicopters are also for the state police. I think the state actually has two, and the other three are for state police. And then, of course, the governor's office the governor has access to the King Air, which is the plane of choice to travel across the country and so forth.
Something I've always wanted to have. Actually, I've never been in a private. No, I've never been in a private plane, like an executive plane.
No.
That's one of the things.
As a best-selling author, I would have figured that was a daily occurrence. How did you get in here today?
I did have the opportunity last year to fly on Governor Justice's private jet. He has a citation.
I remember that.
And it was during when he was out promoting the tax cuts, the personal income tax cuts. Mm-hmm. And we left Charleston, and when wheels went up, 35 minutes later, we were in Martinsburg. And I said, hey, this is the way to go.
That is the way to go. Yeah, you can usually spend that much time just on 81.
So is your office in the Capitol?
It is. It's on the first floor. If you're standing on California Avenue looking at the state capitol from where the House of Delegates park, the Attorney General's office, Patrick Morris's office, is on the left-hand corner which faces the Kanawha River, and the Department of Administration's office will be all the way at the other end on the right corner, and it's facing the highway. So it's right underneath of where the House of Delegates have all of their members have their offices. So it's on the first floor.
With all the great West Virginians we've had and all the great stuff that happens, why is our capital situated on California Avenue? I'm just throwing that out there. That makes no sense to me.
No, it's on Kanawha Boulevard in California. So
Eric,
that's where the House of Delegates park.
As a former finance chairman, have you given Mr. Barrett any advice?
No. I feel quite confident that Senator Barrett's going to do a good job. I did call him and congratulate him, but no, I told him, hey, look, my door is always open if he needs anything, and I'm willing to listen to him and help him out and talk anything he needs. I'm here to help. So, what's
one of those things that you didn't know you needed to know it at the time when you took over as finance chair?
Oh, let's see. Well, how your door is a constant revolving where people want to come in and see you. I mean, that's the biggest thing about that office. People will come in. Everybody is looking for money. Everybody has great ideas. And one of the things that I always did was keep an open door policy. My thoughts were that if people were going to drive hours to come see me to talk to me about, hey, their idea and why they need money, I felt the least that I could do was sit there and listen to them and hear what they had to say. But no, that's the biggest thing. He'll just have a barrage of people every day that want to see him and just talk to him about, hey, look, we need money here, we need money for this and money for that. So
It can be an unpopular position, though, can it? Because you're ultimately the guy that has to say no to a lot of people.
But I think the legislators, I mean, they realize that there's so many great ideas out there that people have. And one of the things that we did on the House side was to require people to have a fiscal note. And then it made it a lot easier for me as finance chair. If someone said, hey, I wanted to start a charter school, but you saw a fiscal note of $200 million, you could easily say, hey, look, here's the problem. Here's why I can't run this bill. It's in a $200 million additional cost to the state budget, or whatever the issue may be. I was just making that up. But that's how I tried to mitigate, or I would require people to have a fiscal note. And if they didn't, then I would call down and get a fiscal note on their bill so I could see what the actual cost of their idea was.
Do you anticipate a bit of a culture shock moving from the legislative branch to the executive branch? I'm going to guess it's...
I do, and because on the legislative branch, I could pretty much do whatever I wanted to do at any time. I could run any bill. I could say whatever I wanted to say, but now it's different. You know, I have a new boss. The citizens were my boss before, but now I answer to a governor, and I'm here to follow out his plans and implement his plans to the best of my ability.
So how do you reconcile supporting something? And I assume that you and Governor-elect Morrissey are on the same page on many, many issues, but there will be some when you're not. How do you reconcile that when you have to go forward and push forth something that maybe you don't believe in?
Well, it's the same way that you know, when you're the finance chair or the majority leader. Anytime that you decide to step up and take a role in a leadership position, there are times that you have to bite your tongue. You may not want to vote on something, but you know, you're a team player, and that's your role. And that was the biggest role of the majority leader, was to take the arrows for the speaker and to make the speaker look good. Oh yeah, there were several bills that I might have pushed the green button on and voted yes that I might not have agreed on, but that was, you know, my role was, I was part of leadership, and I'm here to cultivate what the Speaker of the House wanted. So that's the hierarchy. That's how things go.
Eric, we appreciate your availability today, and over the years when you were an elected official as well. Always appreciated with the information and the availability, and your handiwork around an HVAC system as well, I can attest to.
Well, I'm going to miss you guys, but look, I'm always available. If you need a fill-in, if you need someone to talk about something, just give me a call. So,
I can do that. That's, in fact, why this show exists.
There you go.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. We'll see you guys. Have a great day.
All right. Happy New Year.
Thanks, Eric.
The incoming Secretary of Administration, Delegate Eric Householder.